Hey everyone, we're back here on Cyrene, and I thought today we would do the merfolken daily and then kind of work through that merfolken initiative. They put a terminal in to claim rewards since they removed the NPCs for the iron missions, but they didn't remove the mission, and so I'm wondering if we can just finish it and claim it at the terminal. I'll have to ask in the chat where the terminal is. They didn't actually say where it was, just that they had put one in. In any event, let's get started and get some codex going on these guys. Plus, this 200 point daily will give us some perception skill, which I'm real fond of, as it's a looter skill. The loot here is going to be pretty mediocre. It's going to be all your normal stuff. Animal oil residue, a little animal oil, bunch of shrapnel. We'll get some diluted muscle oil or body oil at some point, probably, which is kind of the only out of the ordinary, but it still doesn't have any markups, so we're not too concerned with it. We're kind of just here for the skills. And we're using this Inked Dire S1 just because we actually crafted one for a daily that gives weapon manufacturing, like 6-pack or something like that, I think it is. It's a small amount. But we'll get some perception as we go ahead and kill these guys, and then we'll get a small little boost at the end. And then we're kind of after this BLP weapon tech. Just because we're really close to qualifying to use this weapon we looted. And I didn't want to just sell it. But I wanted to be fully qualified before I just like burn through it. Just because it's a minigun. It sounds cool. And it looks cool. And so I thought we would work it up a little bit. Till we could burn through that. Plus, that'll give us a mid-range of choices for the low weapons. And I do really appreciate being kind of a well-rounded character and having options. Yeah, see, I think we've just got the residue muscle oil and shrapnel so far. Oh, one socket component. Don't want to misrepresent there. Now, these guys are pretty chill, pretty easy, but you definitely are still going to want to have armor. Um, the pixie armor is pretty good for these guys. I think maybe I have 2A plates in most of the pieces. We're still missing one Imperium officer plate, and I don't remember which piece has it. And so one of the 2As is still on the Mayhem armor. Yeah, we're still hoping to finish that out at some point, but they adjusted the drop rate of the tail tips, and we are still 5 short. Yeah, we'll do a little paneling hunt at some point to try and get those, but so far we haven't had real good luck there. And it's only 5. I guess we could just buy them. But I was trying to kind of get them, especially since we want to get a pristine at some point so that we can start working on that armor. Since we're over 500 badges, we have the option of that first stage armor. And it's pretty good armor, honestly. I don't have the stats pulled up right now, but covers a wide range of protection at pretty good amounts. The other thing I kind of like about it is it kind of looks like the Bison from the Street Fighter games. At least that was the first impression when I first saw it. That's what it made me think of. And so I think it looks reasonably neat. There's that diluted body oil I was talking about. So we've got all the normal drops at this point, I think. Occasionally you'll get some other makeup stuff, but it's pretty rare. So I guess a good place to get muscle oil if you were directly after that for some reason, like you're trying to do a conductor run or something. But these have extremely low hit points compared to some of the other merfolken. And it's right by um, the rookie teleporter, which makes it kind of nice for doing this daily, especially since the daily is literally in that rookie area. And again, perception's a looter skill, so it's kind of important to get that worked up at some point. People have always said that perception affects your loot anyway. I don't know if that was true until the new loot system. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Um, but under the new system, they've definitively stated that it is. Same with dexterity, because anything that goes into the looter profession affects the amount of loot you get. And while a lot of people have a lot of different theories, usually when Mind Arc definitively states something, they're not lying to you, is my understanding. I mean, like, why would you lie to your entire player base? At that point, just don't issue a statement on it. then you're just like, nah, we're gonna keep you in the dark. You guys can figure it out. But when they definitively like, we've seen a lot of talk, and so we wanted to make a statement on how this actually works. I feel it's sometimes important to pay attention to that. I feel like my loot has gone up as my skills in those areas have gone up. But I don't track my returns every hunt, so it's hard to say definitively, like how much. And it looks like we're closing in on this rank 10 of this merfolken codex. Yeah, 0.2% of kills, so we're less than 20 kills out now. Typically, I pick up just perception or dex, and then an evade reward on the codex. It seems to kind of be the system. So we'll see what the reward is. Every now and again, they give you a good reward that's out of the normal. Like a biology or a zoology or something, another looter skill is really what I mean by that. Oh, there we go. Let's see what it is. That's a looter skill, but it's super cheap to buy in the auction house if we wanted to, so we're gonna go with the evade. Plus my alertness is pretty reasonable already. It's not amazing though. I still want to buy a chip or two to boost it up at some point. Just so that that's not the skill that's bringing me down. The anatomy is probably my leading skill on the looting. Outside the main skills, like I have a pretty good skinning and butchering at this point. And I won't pretend I did not gain those skills by doing the activity the whole way. I 100% augmented them in. Now, obviously, I hunt a bunch, so I gained some of those skills anyway. But those, it's not a natural skill number for me. That being said, we're really trying to push up to unlock that last hidden skill. Um, what's it called? Scavenging, I think. But it doesn't unlock till level 60. And so that's a really long way to go from level 30. Oh, that wasn't a bad little hit there for a low-level mob. Oh, that was a really nice one. It still looks like it's less than 1,000 kills for the next Codex rank. We're still getting 0.1 to 0.2%. And this is what I like about the rifle over melee right here. We can just sit here in this spot and just plink them. They're going to run in on us. We'll finish them off, and then we switch to the next one. With the melee, we'd have to be running in there, like hacking them down. And so this definitely mitigates some damage against our armor. And I think we spend more time actually attacking. The other thing that happens as you accumulate these hunting or these looting skills, excuse me, is that your loot composition will change. And I'm not sure which skill affects that or if they all kind of affect that a little bit. I suspect it's the skinning skill itself or the butchering skill once you get that one as well that might affect that. But at some point, I went from gaining mostly shrapnel to getting a reasonable percentage of the other stuff. Extractors and muscle oil and, that sort of stuff. And it's all that other stuff that's going to have the markup. If you're trying to, well, not lose a bunch of money all the time, you're going to want to be getting more of the markup stuff and a little bit less of the shrapnel. Even if it means you got to buy shrapnel later from other people. Right? If you're able to get stuff that's 150% markup, it's better to sell that and buy something for 100.5, I think is the going rate on shrapnel. And so you'll just get more shrapnel for under those circumstances. But there is an extra step in there. You got to find a buyer and then a seller. And I think finding the buyer for the items might be a little harder than finding someone to sell shrapnel. That seems to happen pretty often. But again, I don't think these guys drop anything with markup. And so you also will definitely have to pick the mob that you're trying to break even on. Some are obviously going to be better choices than others. For example, these guys drop almost nothing with markup versus, say, the tabs on Tolan or even the Panellians, right? The tail tips are pretty rare, but if you get one, it's one pet a drop. They're 5 pack. That's 1,000% markup. Or 2,000% markup, sorry. But the tabs drop extractors that routinely go for 180% to 200% markup. The hides themselves typically have gone for around 500% markup. And that's a majority of what they drop is those extractors, at least while I'm there, for the event every week, every month. That's what we seem to get. 'Cause, during the week, we'll swamp them sometimes before work and whatnot. While I'm getting ready, drinking my coffee. And I've been keeping those extractors there to run that uh, generic leather textile blueprint. Because I was trying to flesh out the our textile blueprints on Tolan a little bit. If I didn't want to sell the hides, we could do a tab textile run as well. But I was kind of saving them up till we had a pretty good sized amount, and then we'll go ahead and try and sell them to someone there. It's nice to have a good sized bundle. A lot of people aren't interested if you only have a handful, which is the downside. As a hunter, you have to collect kind of big stacks before you can offload them. And so you have to have a large amount of ped to cycle to generate the an appropriate size stack that you'll be able to sell it. Additionally, sometimes it's hard to find a buyer on those what I would call, I guess, fringe worlds or not the main planet. Basically, not Calypso. And so sometimes you end up having to warp them off that planet to Calypso to sell them. And so you need a big enough stack to be able to eat that cost as well. Otherwise, you end up just having to sell it to the trade terminal, and you get zero market from that at all times. So it's almost a guarantee of losing money. I mean, sometimes you just have to free up the ped. Your options are limited, but it probably shouldn't be your go-to either. So we've got a couple of different extractors now. That's kind of neat. Advanced leather and enhanced cloth. I don't know what we use those for. I mean, outside some textile somewhere. Alright, we're closing in. We're 75% through the daily already. So I don't think we'll finish out the Kill 3000 today. We'll try and make another run at it later in the week and wrap it up. I don't know if that'll be on camera or off. We'll just kind of see how it goes. Oh, there's a little bit of courage. That's always nice. Pretty sure that's a hit point skill. And we definitely like anything that boosts our hit points up a little bit naturally. Well, that was not a bad hit at all. 2 ped. I think those are like 10 times value hits probably. Oh, this is nice. We're making a nice little dent in this codex. Which is always exciting because it boosts up our attributes through that attribute challenge. Every 5 codex ranks, you get a new attribute boost. And for me, mostly that means the possibility of a stamina boost. When that's not an option, we obviously select the next best thing, whatever I feel that is at the time. I don't have like a set, we do this, then this. Probably stamina, then strength. Then it's a toss up. I like intelligence, I like being smarter. Helps with the crafting and stuff. So I might choose that over the psychic, but sorry, psyche, not psychic. Yeah, 1/5 of the way through rank 11. So it's not a crazy amount of kills to be able to progress through the codex on these guys, which is reflective in the amount of skill you get from them, right? So you can see it's less than a ped of skill. It's probably not going to take 1,000 ped to work through to get that. It's definitely a conversion. I don't know what the conversion is exactly. Um, Obviously, it's going to vary rank to rank. But I mean, I don't know how much is like you have to spend 30 times what the skill reward is, or 40 times, or you know what I mean? Oh, there's some wool. We don't get that very often. I actually didn't even know that was on their drop list. Only 10 more to go on the daily. That's super nice. That'll be a perception boost when we fly over the wall and claim it. And I don't remember what the value on the perception is. I don't think they tell you. Nope, just says some perception. We have a pretty good perception score, so it won't be a lot of points anyway. I was just kind of curious on the value of it. Either way, it's definitely worth doing, especially if you're going to codex on these guys, because it's literally just free skill. And it's a valuable skill. Well, not really valuable as in, like, you could sell it and make a bunch. But it's a very useful skill, which brings value to your character. Alright, I'm going to churn out a few more of these, I think, before we go claim that reward. Try to kind of get us within a good striking distance. That's the goal anyway. That's the goal. That was a nice one, almost 2.5 ped. Again, these guys are super easy to codex on. And so it's a nice way to boost up your stats, especially as a newer player, to do some of the easier, low-costing codexes. Because the attribute challenge goes up one rank, 20% per codex rank you complete, whether it's a cost you 10 ped to do that codex rank or 10,000 ped. One rank is one rank in that system. So as a new player, I would maybe jump around on some of the low level stuff that's pretty easy to knock out and claim a few of the easy stat rewards, which are kind of a big deal in the beginning. They're still a big deal later on, but they're a really big deal in the beginning, I feel. Especially like stamina and whatnot for the extra hit points. I don't remember what you start with hit points, but I remember it wasn't an impressive a lot. 80 or 100. And so it's kind of nice to have that buffer before you're just dead. Especially because some of the mobs hit really hard. I mean, you shouldn't be trying to hunt those as a new player anyway, but say you went out to the sweat circle on Calypso or something to conserve your pad, maybe make a little for it a day because you're broke. I'm not saying I've done that before, but for sure I've done that before. It's nice to be able to take a hit or two when there's no healers out there at the circle and whatnot. Plus, you'll get a bunch of low-level Codex rewards, which are still going to be that perception and dex and whatnot, which are looter skills. And so it should start helping you get at least a better composition of loot, maybe, depending on what that's actually tied to, like I was saying earlier. But it'll for sure start getting you a little bit more loot. Um, but I think they said it's like 0.1% or 0.01% per level or something like that. It's a real small um, boost, and so it takes a while before you're ever going to see it. To, and I think you would literally have to crunch the numbers where you're like, nah, I did a mega hunt on this mob, and I got this returns, and then I boosted these skills up, and I tried it again, and I got these returns. I think it would be hard to actually track on a data level, just because I think it would be meticulous, not because I think it would be impossible. All right, let's keep churning some of these out. The adult and count for 1 point the same as the level 2 ones. So if you're doing the daily and you're trying to do it as cheap as possible, stick to the youngs. Since they count the same. Luckily, most of them are young out here. It's the only occasionally you get the adults, or periodically, I guess. I do kind of find it interesting that they kind of walk faster than the avatar will track them with the gun. And so it waits for them to stop or rubber band back a little bit before it'll shoot them sometimes. Oh, that was a real nice one, almost 8 ped. But you see how those big hits for me were almost all shrapnel? I mean, that's good for us. We'll just cycle it through. Um, it would not be good for the ped card if we were trying to turn a profit here. Luckily, I know that that's not really a thing on these guys. And so for us, we're just going for some skill. We'll get some stuff back that will cycle through us. I mean, it's literally all about the skills, really. The skills we're gaining from the activity, plus the quest we're working on, hopefully to still get that reward. But if not, no biggie. We kind of missed the deadline on that, and that happens sometimes. Then we'll be working up on the codex, which always gives skills. And so it really kind of is just about the skills. And it's fun gaining them, right? So it's about gaining the skills, but it's also about the entertainment value that you receive while doing so. It shouldn't just be all, oh no, this is such a boring grindy grind. Um, at the end of the day, it's a video game that you should enjoy playing. And I always say if it's getting too grindy, maybe you should switch your activities up a little bit. Go do something else for a second. Maintain your enjoyment at a high level. I still don't think I've ever globaled on these guys, and I think part of it is that I like to hunt them kind of eco, and the other part is to global on these guys you have to have a pretty high multiplier, just because the value on the per kill is pretty low, especially when you hunt eco. All right, almost to 2,500. Which I think means we killed about 400 a day, maybe 300. 300, I think it is. Well, almost 300, right? All right, let's go claim the reward after this one. Oh, it's letting us know we're low on fuel. We'll have to restock it for our little mining run we're going to do later in the week, I think. Or we'll be on foot for most of it, maybe. We'll see. Then we'll use whatever oil we hit to refill it. And then there's Malbo, the quest giver here. And boom, he gave us a pretty good chunk of perception, considering that I think I have over 4,000 skill in that now. Over 5,000. So it's a pretty decent sized reward, is what I'll say. Anyway, this is going to wrap up our merfolken Codex Hunt today. We're still about 500 kills away from that. I don't know if that'll be a single session or another double session at some point, where we're going to try to finish that out and see if we can claim that reward still. Either way, we're getting some progress on normal skills and the merfolken Codex, which makes us extremely happy. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Stay epic.